really want to welcome everyone and appreciate you coming on a Sunday afternoon. I want to thank the steering team of Indivisible Tacoma that provides guidance and support for all of our activities, the legislative action team that addresses both elections and legislation, and our campaign liaisons. We have volunteers that connect with campaigns where we see a special need, and we even have, as we have had in last year's, we even have a campaign manager this year for one of the candidates, and that's Vicki Stanich. So she'll be announcing a candidate later on. So you should have in your hands our rack cards that tell about Indivisible Tacoma, and the candidate card, the 2023 candidate cards. Both of these cards contain our values. So the rack cards are the ones that have our values on one side, and then on the other side, they list the activities that we're involved with. The 2023 candidate cards have the candidates that we support and have endorsed, and these are candidates that we hope will demonstrate the values that we have listed on the card. We are a nonpartisan organization. We only support candidates that reflect and act on our values. We have a 3-tier endorsement process. That process is that we do independent research, and we examine the actions of candidates, community service, endorsements from other organizations. Sometimes we do questionnaires and sometimes interviews. We also reach out to touch base with members and leaders in the various communities that will be voting on these candidates. Then we have a 3-tier categories. Full endorsement denotes strong adherence to the values we support. And recommended denotes some adherence to the values we support, but some areas of concern that we try to communicate with these candidates because we are still supportive of them. And prefer denotes many areas of concern, but that this candidate is the closest to addressing our values in comparison with their opponent. So we're looking for courageous candidates for the public good. Our slogan is democracy, earth, and justice. Strong democracy requires courageous leaders that are dedicated to the public good. We believe that the definition of public good is inherent in our values list that includes many aspects of health, safety, and well-being for the public, including diversity, equity, and inclusion, availability of health care and reproductive rights, clean water, air, soil, and food, gun safety, privacy, good wages and jobs with safety and security, housing, and economic justice. Strong democracy includes addressing the existential, human-created problems of climate change and species extinction that are rapidly changing the living conditions of Earth. These values require leaders with long-term vision and commitment to the public good for current and future generations. The biggest challenge for leaders is that some people and groups have more influence into government policies. We have seen the erosion of democracy at the national level even before the former president and his minions, with the Citizens United decision where corporations can spend unlimited funds in elections, where the Supreme Court justices are wined and dined by healthy friends with cases before their court and are not required to adhere to ethical standards. The problem lies with the inherent conflict of interest between maximizing profits and the public good. You can make more money if you pay lower wages, don't have to worry about worker safety, get free or low-cost resources from public sources, don't have to be held responsible for environmental contamination or destruction. That is why we need courageous leaders who have integrity and ethical standards and are not afraid to stand up for the public good. We need leaders who will listen carefully to the stories and research provided to them by the public, not just industry, and leaders who will take a stand for what is right and what is in the public interest. We are very pleased to host this candidate forum today to share the candidates we believe and hope will fulfill this great responsibility to work for the public good. And so the first candidates will be introduced by Liz Scott.
Hello. We are very excited for the first time this year to be supporting and endorsing 3 excellent candidates from Fircrest. We are looking forward to seeing them be elected and to working with them to work for the public good. And in order of speaking, I'm going to introduce them, Brett Wittner, Karen Maurer-Smith, and Hunter George. And please welcome them.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Julie. And thank you to everybody at Indivisible Tacoma for organizing this and giving us an opportunity to be here this afternoon. My name is Brett Wittner. I have lived in the city of Fircrest for 17 or 18 years now. I raised my 3 kids there, and I've been a member of the Fircrest City Council for almost the last 8 years now. For the last 2 years, I've served as the mayor of Fircrest. 2 years before that, I served as the mayor pro tem. While I'm not working for the city, my full-time job is as an attorney here in downtown Tacoma. I've been a practicing attorney for the last 26 years. My area of expertise is student loan law, which is a hotbed of important stuff going on right now, as you can probably imagine, bankruptcy, immigration, and estate planning. So I'm quite busy. When I first ran for city council, my plan was I want to do 4 years. I want to give back to the community, and I want to make sure that this city is a better place after my 4 years. And during that first 4 years, we basically were able to start the process and replace our swimming pool. We were able to start the process of replacing our community center. And then something happened, and I said, well, the community center is just about to be built. I want to make sure that our visions of how we want this community center come to fruition. So I reluctantly said, I'm going to run for 4 more years. And for the last 4 years, we've built that wonderful community center. And I've been telling everybody for the last 2 years, I'm done, no more. 8 years is more than enough of politics, small town politics. And then something happened. Last year, the city of Fircrest lost our city manager. He abandoned us to a bigger city. And we went through a lot of change. We needed a new city manager, and our longtime police chief retired. And with all of these changes in the city of Fircrest, there was something else was happening, and that was people who don't really share, in my opinion, the vision and the goals of Indivisible Tacoma were popping up everywhere. They were popping up at our city council meetings, and it was very, very clear that they were intending to run for city council and to try to change Fircrest, and not in a good way, at least in my opinion. So I decided that I was going to run for re-election, and I promise this will be my last one, because 12 years is more than enough for anybody. And I just want to say thank you very much. Lastly, I've been off to a slow start in this campaign process. Sadly, I lost my father over the summer. My mother has Alzheimer's. My opponent has been out there knocking on doors and has a lot of signs up. So if you know anybody in Fircrest, please tell them there's no contest. There's 3 candidates who should be supported, and there's 3 candidates who would make Fircrest a less desirable place to live. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Maurer-Smith. I'm a longtime resident of Fircrest. I actually grew up there, moved away for a little while, and had to come home, and so raised my kids there too. I'm running for this position for a lot of reasons, one of which I blame my nephew Matt, who's also running for Metro Parks. And part of it is what Brett was talking about. And I'm a longtime educator. I've been an educator for 28 years. I've been a teacher. I've been a principal. I've been an assistant principal. And we have these things, they're called professional learning communities. And we have questions that as we're assessing the learning that our kids are doing. And 2 of the questions were really resonating in my head today as I was doorbelling. And the questions were, who did this work for? And the next question is, who didn't it work for? And what are we going to do about that? And so with that lens in mind. It's a growth lens, and it's also an inclusionary lens. And it's really important that people feel like they belong in their community and that they're welcome in their community. And it's not about keeping all the marbles for yourself. And unfortunately, there's a mentality around that right now. And you can see it in school boards, and you can see it in city council rooms, and and so people need to stand up and say, this is how we're going to treat people. This is our vision for what life should be here. And we're not going to be quiet about that. We're going to work to make that happen. And then I have some great new friends that I've made who are helping me do this thing. I mean, I was scared to death yesterday, doorbelling for the first time ever. But the last 2 days, it's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of nice people. Run across people who I raised my kids with, and they went to school together. So all around, Fircrest is a great place, and I want to do the right work to keep it that way, and to be proactive about how we grow and how we include everyone. Then that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so my name's Hunter George, and I've had the privilege of serving on the City Council in Fircrest for the last 12 years. Dressed a little casually today because we were out doorbelling. Karen Maurer-Smith and I have been out doorbelling all weekend and meeting a lot of neat people. So again, 12 years on the council. It's an incredible privilege, and one of the things I've been doing during those 12 years is trying to encourage others to run. We need people like Brett and I would like to move on. And I know I've always wanted to be a drummer, and I just don't have time to practice. So it's constant recruiting, it's constant meeting people and getting them engaged. One of my favorite stories, Karen Maurer-Smith is running for a seat that Joe Ballentine won. He won that because he was working on our pool camp. He was so inspired by the community center and pool project that once the park bond passed, then he decided to run for council. That's what makes a great community, right? You get involved in something, you see it built, and you make sure it's built, and then you make sure that it's operating the way it should. I work for Metro Parks in my day job. So everything I do is about public service. I work in government relations. My job is working with the city council and the county council and the school board and the legislature. And something that's really that I think about a lot, that you don't think necessarily about the boundaries. You don't worry that, well, there's a line between these two things, and so you can only do this and you can only do this. The lines don't matter that much. It's how do we do it together? How do we pool our resources and do more and do better? And so I'm excited to do that. Building the community center is truly the coolest thing I've ever been involved in my life. I preceded Brett as mayor. I got to spend 4 years as mayor. And it was an incredible process, just a ton of community engagement. It was not a city council project, it was a community project, and that's the key. So there's a lot of work to do on public safety. There's a lot of work to do with pedestrian safety. I know we're known for the speed limit. Everybody's heard of the reputation. It's a reputation, but and this is happening everywhere. There's a lot of crazy drivers out there these days. I don't know what's changed, but some things have changed. There's a whole bunch of solutions in there, including things like traffic engineering, right? That there are things we can do together, working with our partners. This is I'm, as you can tell from my day job, I'm a big believer in the partnerships. We've got giant Tacoma on one side and pretty big University Place on the other side. We need to be working together. What I'll say is there are 3 folks running for Fircrest City Council that they're selling T-shirts that say "Don't Tacoma my Fircrest." I don't want them representing me. That's not how this works. So I appreciate if you'd support me, if you would support Mayor Wittner, and if you'd support Karen Maurer-Smith, because I'd really like to keep these partnerships going and work together to make a great community. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vicki Stanich, and I am a co-campaign manager for one of the candidates running for Clover Park School Board. And I just wanted to say that courageous, passionate, and dedicated are 3 words that come to mind about the candidates that are running for a school board in Puyallup, Bethel Schools, and University Place. We have a different climate now. In the past we didn't need people to have raised thousands of dollars for their campaigns for school board, but things have changed now, and Many of them are running against extremists who are trying to limit access to education. It's the reason why we have this week, today's the first day of Banned Books Week, because of the history of people like that in America. So I would like to introduce three of those candidates, Janet Caldwell, Erasmo Ruiz, and Trish Crocker.
Hi, I'm Janet Caldwell. I'm running for the Clover Park School Board Director position 5. This will be my first public office, so I have notes that I'm going to be looking at, just so you know I can stay on track. My qualifications. I have lived in Lakewood for over 40 years. I was raised in the Clover Park schools. My children graduated from Lakes High School, as did myself. If you didn't know, Clover Park is very close to Joint Base Lewis McChord. I grew up a military brat, and I married a military man. So we have survived 2 deployments to Iraq, and I really think that positions me well to be in this community, because 1/3 of our students are military-based families. The other thing that you might want to know about me is I am a proud union educator. I have over 27 years teaching experience in public schools. Little people is my specialty. And I got my degree from Washington State University, my master's from City University here in Tacoma, and then I'm also a nationally board certified teacher as well. And I'm currently the president of the Bethel Education Association, which is not related to the Clover Park School District. My values. I value honesty, transparency, as well as collaborative problem solving. I think that with me, you're going to get that. I believe that I am a great champion for children. I believe that there are so many different ways our kids can be successful, and if we are asset focused, I don't think there's anything that they can't achieve. One of the things that I'm running on that I truly believe is so important is the 9 different pathways that students can access a meaningful high school diploma. It's not just one and done. It's not about a test score. Yes, that's one way, but there are 8 other ways. And so I am a big proponent of that. I do believe in student safety. Yeah, things are a little crazy. Kids came back from COVID and they're not like they were. But I also know that in order to meet student needs, some of these behaviors are going to go away. So I'm very proud that Clover Park offers both free breakfast and lunch for all students. The educators there are welcoming, and they're working with kids to help them know what it is that's keeping them from learning. They're talking to the students. They're changing what they're doing based on the feedback that they're getting. I'm all about removing barriers. There's over 60 languages spoken in the Clover Park School District. And if you can't communicate with families, that's a barrier. So I want to make sure that we address those things. As an educator, I think I've got what it takes, and I do need support, doorbelling, money. We got to send some things. And anyway, just your ongoing support. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erasmo Ruiz, and I am running for District 2 Bethel School Board Director. I am an educator, social worker, and mental health professional with more than a decade of experience. I have a bachelor's degree in criminology and criminal justice and a Master of Science in Education. Recently, I was also accepted into Harvard University's Emerging Leaders Executive Education Program. I start this program in December, and I will be living on the Harvard University campus in Cambridge, Massachusetts for several weeks. I am also the second vice chair of the 2nd Legislative District Democrats, as well as Pierce County Commissioner for Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. In addition to being endorsed by Indivisible Tacoma, our campaign has also been endorsed by the Washington Education Association, the LGBTQ+ Victory Fund, the Pierce County Central Labor Council, the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, the Washington State High School Democrats, the 2nd LD Democrats, the 28th LD Democrats, One America Votes, Pierce County Council Chair Ryan Mello, and Pierce County Council Member Janie Hitchin. As a proud graduate of the public school system, a first-generation college graduate raised by immigrant farm working parents from Mexico, I understand deeply how a supportive public education can improve a person's life. To me, education is the great equalizer, as well as a pathway for achieving and participating in the American dream. As your next Bethel School Board Director, I will ensure that every student in our school district has the same opportunities and resources that I received throughout my public education. And as the next Bethel School Board Director, I will work at the local, state, and federal levels to obtain increased funding for our school district in hopes of not increasing property taxes so that our students receive the quality K-12 education that they deserve. My priorities include fully funded K-12 schools, supporting teachers to thrive, safety for all children, implementing and expanding dual language education programs, expanding access for the Running Start program, creating career pathways for our students, and no-cost school meals for every student. In addition to strong, bold, independent-minded leadership, I will also reach out with an open door policy to encourage and listen to all my constituents, students, parents, and teachers. I will also be a proactive school district leader, as well as bring my skills of relationship and partnership building with businesses to create an abundance of career opportunities for our students. I need your support to win this election on November 7th. Our campaign currently needs volunteers for door knocking and text plus phone banking. Lastly, I would like to invite you all to the second LD fundraiser on Saturday, October 7th, starting at 4 p.m. Our speakers will be the Washington State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Chris Reichdahl, and Attorney General Bob Ferguson. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Trish Crocker, but I'm here representing three incredible women, Davita Hayward, Amanda Cuthbert, and myself, who are running for the Puyallup School Board. We are all three committed to having an inclusive school board. We're seeing a lot of extremists who are coming to the school board and are trying to undermine belonging for all students. Puyallup is traditionally a farming community, but what they don't realize is that we're a majority minority school district now. I don't like that term, but and there's a lot of changes, and some people don't like those changes. And Davita, Amanda, and I are committed to making sure that there are policies that are going to be serving all students. And our backgrounds are that Davita is an educator of educators. She works at Pierce County at Pierce College. I work at Pierce County. She works at Pierce College, and she educates especially special education and other teachers to help them be the teachers of the future that are inclusive and understand how to help people learn, and that there's not just one way to do it. Amanda is an education consultant working for Bright Spark, so she understands from pre-K to age 13 how to help people, how to help the children learn the best way that they can. And my background is in human services and in fundraising. And my goals are to ensure that we have the financial resources at the school level, which is a priority for both of my slate mates also, so that, while we aren't opposed to levies, we want to make sure that the resources are not on the backs of property tax owners, of homeowners. So I want to look for other resources that can help to do that. I also want to look at where the money is going and that it's at the school level. So my budget experience is going to help with that. What we need, we would love volunteers to help us with door knocking, text banking, and phone banking. And we also can use some money because those flyers that Erasmo was talking about, those don't come in free either. So any support you can give, we would really appreciate it. If you know anybody who's in the Puyallup School District who can vote, please let them know about us and remind them to vote. Thank you.
I would like to introduce our excellent University Place candidates. Our candidate for University Place City Council position 7 is Alecia Cunningham. And running for the school board against an Extremist Moms for Liberty candidate is Tawana Nobles, who I believe has a representative speaking for her today. She's also our state senator. So welcome.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. Alecia Cunningham, University Place City Council position 7. I have lived in University Place my entire life. I've lived, I think, probably almost every street that they have. And if I go any more to the right, I'll be in Lakewood, so I have to stay right where I'm at. I'm raising my family there, my 4 sons. It's fun because they have the teachers that I had, so they come home and they think, oh my God, you couldn't possibly have the same PE teacher, because then how old are you? So it's fun to banter with them about that. I currently am the Parks Commissioner for University Place, and I've been that for nearly 3 years. So the Parks and Rec is a huge passion of mine. I'm part of the inclusive playground that's coming to University Place. We're excited about that, groundbreaking in March. And I've been instrumental in that in the sense of being able to secure private sector funding for that. No tax dollars at all, and we're more than 60% of the way. And that's been a real passion for me. So I'm excited to be part of that. I know that public safety is an ongoing issue, even in University Place, as much of suburbia or Pleasantville that they think that it is. Crime happens everywhere, and so I'm passionate about that. It's an ongoing issue. And it's nothing that, we just had our levy pass, and that was not easy. Everyone was, it was on the fence, and we had to run it twice. And luckily it came out in that favor of staffing more officers, because we are growing. And as much as we don't like growth in some instances, it's growing, and we have to make sure that we keep up the public safety sector in the process. Let's see here. I am a graduate of the school district out that way. My kids go there. My day job is in youth development. I've always been with young people, Girl Scouts of Western Washington for the better part of 10 years, and now I'm the Director of Development for Palmer Scholars. So I know how to fundraise, I know budget, I know money, I know how to get it, how to ask for it. But people think it's so easy to raise money for yourself, and it's so different. So like the rest of my fellow candidates here, money is always part of the game, but asking it for yourself is very, very difficult. So, I know that University Place is growing. We're going in a direction that, we've had excellent city council members so far, but, it's time for change. It's time for something new. We have a lot happening out there. Business retention and recruitment is a big deal to us out there. We got a lot of businesses. I think one just popped up a couple days ago, a new Moki donut place, so we're excited about that. But we have to make sure that we're stewarding the ones that have been there before us. And 70% of our business sector is home-based businesses, so we got to make sure that we're supporting them and elevating them, because that only helps our city get to where it needs to be. I have a passion for community. I've always been in youth development. I want University Place to be as awesome as it was when my mom wanted to move there for me, and so that my kids want to stay there and raise their family if they choose to do so. So I would love support. I have my campaign interns with me today, so if you would love to volunteer, canvas with us. We've had a heck of a time out there. It's been fun talking to people. Teachers knock on the door. It's just so local and so community for me. It's something that I just love, so thank you so much.
I'm here to introduce the 3 city council candidates, and I'll introduce them individually. We endorse candidates who reflect our values of social, environmental, and racial justice, who create policy and land use zoning by listening to the voices of the communities that are most impacted, instead of policy created by industry alone. We want someone who will take action to protect our health and safety, and that's why I'll first introduce our endorsed candidate, Jamika Scott.
Hi everyone, I'm Jamika Scott. I am running for Tacoma City Council, District 3. I am a lifelong Tacoma kid. I grew up in the Hilltop area. I was born at St. Joe's, and I currently live in Central Tacoma, and I've been fortunate enough to grow up in this city in a time where, even though there have been a lot of issues that we have faced as a city, I have been able and been fortunate enough to see a lot of the ways in which the community has come together to help solve those issues, to fill in the gaps of the resources that we've been missing, to come together and just provide a safety net for each other when the safety net that we most needed wasn't there. And so I know what it feels like to be let down by a system that has said it's there to stand up for you, that it's there to protect you, that it's there to look out for you. And I know that it doesn't have to be that way. And so I have spent a lot of time in this community. I say that, and and sometimes people give me various reactions, but you know, I'm 36 and that's the longest thing I've ever done in my life, so it feels like I've been here a really long time. And so, but it's been one of those things where this is the place that has shaped me. This is the place that has taught me to stand up for myself, to stand up for others, to give a damn, essentially. And in doing that work, I have been fortunate enough to work with really great organizations. I've served families who are experiencing domestic violence. I've served children in the after-school enrichment space. I have been able to work with kids in the arts and just learning and creativity spaces as well. And so one of the things that I've learned is that when we are looking at how do we keep the core of our community healthy and safe and moving? And obviously there are going to be pieces on the outside that we're always going to have to make adjustments for and considerations for. But a lot of it comes down to getting people's basic needs met. And so, you know, whether it's been through my work as a community organizer with the Tacoma Action Collective or my work on the Arts Commission or on the Library Foundation Board, all of my work goes towards looking at how do we create, instead of systems that kind of play whack-a-mole with our needs, how do we start creating the connections between not just the systems, but the people, the institutions, the organizations, the grassroots collectives. How do we connect all of these avenues that are working to keep us safe, to make us better, to work on our healthiness, to work on restoring justice and accountability in the spaces that we live and we learn and we love. And so I have been essentially kind of a megaphone for the people's needs in my community. And we've tried a lot of different ways to get a seat at the table. And people keep telling us no. And so now I decided that the best way to do it is just to take a seat there. And that's my plan. And so I'm hoping to take the voices of the people right with me behind the dais and to, you know, just do my best to make sure that we're affecting the change that we need to when we're looking at housing and we're looking at our environment and we're looking at just building up all of the things that we need to keep us all safe and well, healthy, happy, and thriving. So thank you.
Let's see here. I want to give a quick thanks to Indivisible for having us, for 350 Tacoma for hosting us, and thank you to all of you for being here. I'm running for Tacoma City Council, position number 7, because, like all of you, I just truly love, assuming you're from Tacoma, I love this city. I heard from Fircrest, y'all love us too. Every corner of it. I was born out in Pierce County, but I moved here after college and just fell in love. I was raised by an immigrant, military, and union household, and we valued compassion, hard work, and our community, our friends, our neighbors above everything else. I'm not only the most qualified person in my race, but I'm also the most committed to serving Tacoma and our people. Over the last year, I've met with countless small business owners through my work on the Economic Development Committee for the city. I've listened to young families worry about being priced out of Tacoma. I've collaborated with local leaders to try and figure out solutions to our city's toughest challenges. And I believe that Tacoma's at its best when our neighborhoods are well-resourced, affordable, and easy to get around. I'm running to retain my seat as the at-large city council member because when the reality is that a person has to work 80 hours per week to afford a 2-bedroom rental in a fair market here in Tacoma, and our small businesses are searching for incentives to stay and grow, it's clear that we as a council and a community have a problem and we have more work to do. All Tacomans deserve to feel safe and cared for, especially our most vulnerable communities. I voted last year to fund $101 million towards affordable housing and homelessness relief, including $16 million for sheltering and $500,000 for down payment assistance. To win this race, it's going to take all of us working together. It's going to take all of us giving what we can. It's going to take all of us taking care of our neighbors and talking to them about how important this race really is. And just to give you a little picture of how hard my race in particular is, I think that's the thing that is sort of lost on folks. I think, oh, she got appointed last year, she's got it in the bag. My opponent has actually raised the most money of everyone in Pierce County, and even a little bit more than some port commissioners in King County. So, but she's got a huge war chest. We've got a big mountain to climb ahead of us, but with all of you on our side, I think we can do it. So I'd appreciate your help with doorbelling, with donations, and truly just talking to your neighbors about how important the race is. Even if it's you're on a walk and you see something, say something. I think that's going to be really helpful for us going forward. Thank you.
I'm Kristina Walker. I currently serve as Deputy Mayor for the City of Tacoma in one of the at-large positions. I'm running for re-election in position number 8. And I live in District 3 with my 2 kids and my husband, who's a teacher. And prior to being on City Council, I ran an organization called Downtown on the Go, which was working on advocacy and promotions of walking, biking, and transit. I'm running for re-election essentially for the same reason that I ran in the first place, which is to work on making Tacoma better for future generations. And there's tons of pieces to that, 3 that I want to highlight today. One that I hear from the most people as I'm out doorbelling is about community safety, and I mean that very broadly. I mean that about working with law enforcement to make sure they're fair and equitable. Standing up our alternative response team, which we did a couple weeks ago, which we're very excited about, to have behavioral health specialists, social workers, and registered nurses out on the streets, and adding our community safety officers, which will be part of Tacoma Police Department, that are unarmed officers that are working with the community. It also means street safety, and I've done a ton of work around Vision Zero, which is our goal to have 0 roadway deaths by 2035, no matter what mode of transportation you take. So it's about making our streets safer for walking, biking, and transit. I serve as the chair of the Pierce Transit Board. Transit, obviously, a huge important piece of our climate goals around transportation. Also, looking at affordable housing and addressing homelessness. My colleague Olgy just talked a bunch about what we've invested in this year, but working to increase density, make sure as we're doing that, we're working on anti-displacement and community prioritization within that plan, investing in places where we're leveraging our Affordable Housing Trust Fund and adding to the number of shelter beds we have in Tacoma. Thirdly, I want to talk about our climate action plan. I think a lot of you probably are well aware of that document. The beautiful thing about it is it's integrated into every single department in Tacoma, because it is not just one thing that we do. It is rooted in we all need help. Every department needs help in doing better around climate action, but it is also rooted in absolutely everything we do. So really proud of the progress we've made in all of those categories, but clearly we have a lot of work to do. I've taken on a bunch of leadership roles in my time on council. One is chairing the Infrastructure Planning and Sustainability Committee, which is where a lot of these issues come forward to the council. One is chairing Pierce Transit, as I mentioned. And thirdly, and I know Councilmember George mentioned this too, our Joint Municipal Action Committee. I chair that group, which is 7 different agencies across Tacoma, 2 electeds from each. We come together once a month to tackle Tacoma's biggest issues. I talk about this partly because of the importance of, or to highlight my leadership role, but also to really, really dig into my important value, which is transparency and working together. We don't do good work in silos. We do good work when we sit down agencies together, when we have public-private partnerships, and when we work with you, the community, to have better conversations. So I hope that this is not the last conversation. Thank you so much for hosting it, and I'm really excited to stay in community and in conversation with you as we face Tacoma's toughest challenges. Thank you.
Our next guest is Matt Maurer, who is going to talk to us about Metro Parks. And I think it would be good to just know a little bit about what Metro Parks, what is involved with that. So come on up. And we especially assume that you have to protect some of the land that is available in Tacoma. Is that right?
Thank you, everyone. Hi, I'm Matt Maurer. I am Karen's nephew. Much more than that. We didn't mean to run at the same time, but it just kind of happened. Again, Matt Maurer. I am running for Metro Parks Tacoma, position 5. I am a Tacoma resident. I live in Central Tacoma, District 3, with my husband and our little son. Born and raised in this area. Graduated from Silas High School in 2005. I, right after that, joined the Coast Guard. I was in the military for 9 years, mainly in the reserves, deployed with them twice. After that, I came back, and in between deployments, finished up my degree at Seattle University, and then started working for Senator Patty Murray, doing Veterans Affairs up in Seattle. I then joined the private sector up in Seattle, and then eventually found myself finally back down here in Tacoma, where I currently work at the port. For me, running for Metro Parks, it kind of started, I have 3 main goals. I have access, safety, and partnerships. Access, for me, it started with an accident. Some folks leaving Franklin Park, which is our closest park to us, they got hit by a car. And that was about 5 years ago. And in my naive head, I was like, well, the city will put a crosswalk there and ensure that doesn't happen again. And that hasn't happened. And in leaning in, I want to lean in as a Metro Parks Commissioner to what actually Councilmember Walker talked about, the Vision Zero program. and use Metro Park as a partnership to ensure that we have the best access to our parks to and from for those walking and rolling. So people and pedestrians in particular accessing our parks, making sure they are safe accessing and leaving. And then on top of that, ensuring that we have as much ADA access, not only to get to the parks, but also for the playfields as well. It's something that I want to grow as a Metro Parks Commissioner. Second, with safety, I know a lot of the folks here have talked about safety here, but Metro Parks recently passed a levy that started a kind of like a park ranger program or a park ambassador program, and I really want to lean into that and have an unarmed kind of a presence at some of the parks that have maybe a little bit of an issue to ensure that folks coming and accessing those parks feel safe using it, and that maybe things can be de-escalated before maybe police need to be called. And second is partnerships, or third is partnerships. That's kind of like a catch-all for me. There's a lot of things I want to do. I really love trees. I'm that guy in the neighborhood that goes and talks to their neighbors about the Grit City Tree Program and is like, you should plant a tree right here. Look at this planting strip you have that doesn't have a tree. But in that, I also want to increase park space. I want to maybe lean into our ability as a government entity to partner with some folks like Tacoma Housing Authority to maybe co-locate some affordable housing in parks, net increase in parks, net increase in housing. I know it's a kind of wonky and high level, but I'd love to talk to you more about it. Lastly, I just want to talk about some diversity that I think I'd bring to the Parks Commission. Right now, there are no parents. There is nobody on the Parks Board that has a child under the age of 18 and as the most prolific users of the park. I really think that's an important aspect to bring to it, and so I'd be the only one that would have a kid. So I would love your support. Sorry, I'm out of time.
Hi, I'm Ellen Floyd. I'm here to introduce Myrah Ballentine, and some of us have had the joy of meeting her at events this summer. And as everyone in this room knows, stepping up to run for office is, that's not just something you say, oh, I think I'll do that. No, it takes effort and courage. And so, Myrah, come on up and tell us.
Hi. So I see some familiar faces in here. So I'm running for the Civil Service Board, position 3 for the city of Tacoma. And the best reason why I am running is because I care about people. I think it's a really great opportunity to talk to city employees to find out what their needs are. I have over 25 endorsements. I've raised money all by myself. So it's been a great opportunity. This is my first time running. There's a couple of reasons what I would like to do. The best part is to get us back on TV. Sometimes I think it's kind of a hidden agenda, but we would love to be back on TV to let people know that we care about them and that we're here for city employees. I hope to start going to city council meetings. I actually go to the Civil Service Board meetings to learn more about what they do, and I have a couple mentors in here, so I'm very thankful. But a little bit about me, I've been in Tacoma for many years. I raised my children here, and I'm a community partner for Tacoma Community College. I'm the Asian Pacific Islander Club president. I am part of the Central Neighborhood Council on the executive board, and I sit on various boards in the city of Tacoma. So I hope that you guys vote for me. The biggest thing is I care about people. I'm understanding, I'm equitable, and that's pretty much it. When you care about people and you love people and you want to stand up for them, that's the biggest thing. Like, if you have a problem at work, my phone line's always open for city employees, and I hope to be elected. So thank you for your support, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
But we have one person that has been a long-time friend of ours now. Indivisible worked hard to get her elected to the port in 2019, and we have been just greatly appreciative of all the things that she has done. One of the things that was interesting about her campaign in 2019 is that she was out there with her progressive agenda early on, and all of the other candidates started sounding like Kristin. So they all adopted her talking points. So Kristin Ang.
Well, I'm Kristin Ang, and it's been an absolute honor to serve as your Port of Tacoma Commissioner, position 5. And as Julie has said, probably my foray into local politics is at the same time as Indivisible Tacoma. And we do it because we do want to, I would say, fight for democracy, the earth, and justice. Now, I didn't start this run in 2019. These ideas and these values that we were fighting for this vision, actually started in 2017, in which I was considered an impossible, improbable candidate, because who runs on an environmental justice, a sustainable port, one that is inclusive, that respects tribal sovereignty, and will heal this relationship with the tribe and connect to the community? They were like, what? What is that? Well, equity? What is that word? And then in 2019, 4 years ago, we did win. And we've always thought that culture change happens. People say it happens at the top, but I'd like to say it first actually happened here at the grassroots. And I knew that in 2017, it wasn't just about one election, or even my election. It was about complete political transformation. And that is why these seats that they call the port, untouchable, these only belong to certain people, could not be if we really wanted to have democracy, earth, and justice. Or if we want to have this, we need to defend the school boards. We need to have people on city council because it all works together. I did make some promises 4 years ago about tackling the environment, about restoring community trust, healing and collaborating with the Puyallup tribe, connecting to our local schools. And I must say those promises are fulfilled. And like Julie said, those talking points from 2017 didn't really change much, but the culture did, because we kept on talking about it, how this makes sense for our area. And they call it the Overton window. But I must say now, what does the chamber, what does the Washington Public Ports talk about? Environment and equity. Where did that come from? That came from the grassroots. That came from the people, and it's working. The Port of Tacoma did a strategic plan during my term, 2020, 2021, and for the first time, environment is in the mission statement. It is our goal. We set targets with the Port of Seattle and Vancouver to phase out emissions by 2050, and just this year, the Port of Tacoma passed for 2040. We also invested in shore power to reduce emissions and pollutions. We're establishing a zero truck emission collaborative with industry, with environmental orgs, with tribes. We're creating a 253 maritime campus with Tacoma Public Schools that will be on the Tide Flats. As well as we are doing business with the Puyallup tribe. We are creating a new terminal. We're doing discussions for that, as well as restoring habitat. That's the lower Wapato Creek. That's 20 acres. We also just received the Oscars of the Brownfield from the EPA this year. The Port of Tacoma has one. So I must say, everything that you have tried to advocate for with the port and our area, it has been working, and the port and everyone else has been hearing for you. I'd like to say it was just me, but it isn't. There are people here in this room, staff, and the people that are in our elected officials and community that have actually taken up these particular values. And during these challenging times, what will get us through is our values and vision. And that's why it's really important to have leaders in these particular positions and to have you support these particular people, because that's how it works. We need you, and we need all of these people from school boards, city council, parks, and port commission to establish what we call sustainable economic development that makes sense, that is inclusive, and that will benefit all of us and the orcas. Thank you.
Early on, when we saw that Tacoma for All was organizing in order to deal with the very, very pressing issue of people being evicted in Tacoma, we got on board and endorsed the Tacoma Initiative 1, and Sean Arent is here to talk about it. There are board members who can speak to it, but we have postcards and everything. Sean, you want to talk?
So Tacoma for All is a grassroots campaign. Sorry, got a little height differential issue. Started by renters and working people in the city, really dedicated to addressing the root cause of the housing crisis, which by our best estimate has to do with the for-profit system. If you look across the street at the cause apartments there, it's $1,300 a month to live in those units. They're about the size of a large closet. you know, a long time ago, you know, rents used to be less than the average mortgage, but it's really not that case anymore. We've seen consolidation in terms of, you know, large industries, large venture capitalist firms like BlackRock are buying up housing. And what they're doing is they're increasing rates and they're evicting people from our community who we want to live here. So I'm going to tell you all really quick about what our initiative does. Got some talking points here. So the first thing I want to touch on is enforcement. Right now, if you know, you have a violation in your unit, so you've got mold or something, if you're fortunate enough to be able to afford a lawyer and pursue that, you can do it. But a lot of people are not able to afford the lawyer. So what we're doing with this initiative is we're increasing the fines and damages on landlords for when they violate health and safety codes. Another thing we're doing for enforcement is to make it so that there is a ban on rent increases if there are code violations present in an apartment. So there's an incentive to keep people healthy. We're going to cap pet deposits to 25% of 1 month's rent. We're going to cap late fees at $10 a month. We're going to require 180 days notice of a rent increase. People need stability. Renters are the least, you know, you're in the worst position. You're not the one with all the money. If that rent increase is above 5%, we're going to require that, and that forces the tenant to relocate, we're going to require 2 months of paid relocation assistance. So 2 months at your next spot help sets you up, and that's going to divert people from the streets. You know, just last week, a supporter of ours, Kathy Pick, was nearly evicted from her home. We rallied folks, we raised some money to keep her stably housed, but cases like this happen all the time. And lastly, we're trying to ban the eviction of children during the school year, children and educators. We're trying to ban winter evictions. So evictions that pull kids out of school, and evictions that put people in dangerous situations by putting them out in the freezing cold. We're trying to rewrite the social contract and say that that's not acceptable anymore. Tacoma for All, we're up against a lot. The landlords have raised $250,000 already, and they're ramping up their opposition campaign. So we need folks who are willing to pledge to vote yes, contribute to our campaign, and knock some doors. Thank you.
Hi, I've talked to a few of you about the Decline to Sign and campaign. There's a wealthy Republican donor who has given $5 million to have paid signature gatherers who are getting like $25 an hour to gather signatures for initiatives to put on the ballot to overturn some of the very great progressive legislation that we have worked really hard to get passed. And they're kind of giving misleading statements when you see them they're at the Puyallup Fair, they're at Fred Meyer, Target. We just want to make sure that our folks know to see through that and to decline to sign. The legislation that they're trying to overturn are the capital gains tax, which has raised a lot of money for early childhood education, the cap and invest system, levying any income taxes, the long-term care system. They want to have unrestrained police pursuits to resume, and parental notification, which means I control what your kid learns. So I have some handouts about it, but just want to make sure that everyone knows what's behind these campaigns.
How many of you have seen the petition gatherers out in front of the stores? Yeah, they're paid in a big way, and we are sad because we, as Indivisible, we work so hard to get our reps elected, and we work hard to press them to get good legislation through. And, you know, we want to protect that legislation, so it's really it's an emotional thing to see those gatherers out there harming the work we do. I want to emphasize the candidate cards that right now, ballots come out in in 19 days, October 20th. So since ballots are coming out in fewer than 3 weeks, please take, if you have neighbors and friends, these candidate cards are a good way to help them when they look at their ballot and they say, I don't know who any of those people are, help them. Please help them. Take 5 of these and give them to your neighbors and your relatives. It'll help them. It really will. So these are here. They're up there, and they're here. Candidate cards to help people. And as I say, the time is pressing. I want to tell you that we are known, Indivisible is known for helping candidates. We have lots of door knocking. Many of us Indivisible members go out regularly to knock on doors for candidates, and we help. And so we want everyone in this room to help too. So we have clipboards that we'll have available for you to sign up and commit to work for some of these candidates. But right now, I want to thank everybody for coming and just being part of this wonderful event to help each other get informed. And so now we're going to ask everybody to get where you can communicate with each other, talk, visit, ask the candidates questions, and then sign up to help them. Okay? Thanks a lot.